Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, Episode 2, Gone. This was it was kind of a mixed episode, I will say that. I think for the most part, and I think the episode recovered very nicely, but there's some stuff at the beginning, like, we are telling the same kind of side of the story from two different points of view, following two different characters. The Michonne stuff, it felt like it was threading a little bit of water while we got to the Rick part, but once we get back to everything and kind of have these characters unite as we saw in the first episode, then I think that's where things really kick off. So let's talk about a few things, including some of the cast of this show, because it continues to be very, very good. So of course, we have Andrew Lincoln reprising the role of Rick Grimes and Danai Gurira as Michonne Hawthorne. There's another character that kind of comes back, but I don't want to spoil anything for now. And then we kind of took a little bit of a break. We introduced a bunch of characters. I didn't really go look at the cast list because I feel like they're not characters that are gonna be sticking around for too long, or So you'll see when we get on the episode. So spoilers ahead. I will be talking about some of the events that happen and how that plays out into the episode itself. So be aware of that. Make sure to go watch the episode first and then come back. You can get all that stuff. So here we go. Uh, we begin with a brief recap of Michonne and what she's been doing. Right. There's a few things that happen in common with Rick's story, including the bridge, but we get to kind of see it more on her side, how that affected her, her relationship with her kids that she had to leave behind, how she was planning to stay in touch, all those little things. There's a lot that happened apparently after I stopped watching the show. We get to see Michonne. Uh, we are kind of brought into this new community, and it's really interesting. They reveal little pieces of this community as the episode goes along. I thought that was very well done because it did have me intrigued for like a few minutes at a time of like, what else are you going to tell us about this community and how this is going to play out, right? So it turns out this is a roaming community. It's kind of a caravan that moves around, so they don't stay in one place too long. Uh, they kind of they kind of have mapped out like where the walkers are roaming around and all that. So yeah, it's really, really interesting. So um, Michonne doesn't want to stick around. She has a mission, but because she has helped out this new community, they give her a couple of things to kind of send her off on her way and continue her mission. Although they really wanted her to stick around, but I think her main argument was that a moving caravan will eventually leave members behind, and that just doesn't fly with her. I think Michonne has a different definition of community, which has been previously established. Uh, you know, Michonne runs into a horde. She was definitely warned of this. Really looks massive. I think it was very well done, especially because it's a shot that takes place in the middle of the day. So like that could be very easily, look kind of shoddy with the CGI of making, 5 miles of zombies look into the distance. There's some really kind of interesting effects. Michonne starts to blow up a horde, like part of the horde in the middle. So like they'll all be distracted going to that. She runs into some trouble, but some of the people that she met back then came back to help her because she kind of affected their lives and their way of thinking. So really interesting. There's a reveal that one of the people that she helped out earlier is pregnant, and then we get to see them kind of walk around, and then they are attacked by helicopters with like chlorine gas. It is brutal. It's a brutal scene. Like it looks straight out of a war film. And it's tough because these people are like, she had finally connected with some people. She finally wasn't roaming the street, the world alone looking for Rick. And unfortunately, these people start dying. I think the effects of that chlorine. One of the people is revealed to be pregnant. She dies. Her boyfriend also dies. And this is kind of where things get a little bit bogged down. I feel like they had to explain why Michonne was kind of stuck in one place for a while, and that's because she had to recover along with a new character named Nat, who's kind of like a tech guy that has a very cynical view of the world, but I think he forms a very interesting relationship with Michonne very quickly. Um, yeah, he both of them are recovering. and it just really slowed down the pace of the episode for me. Because I think because we had already seen where Michonne ended up, like we knew that kind of was gonna how that was gonna play out. So yeah, they try to get to Bridges Terminal, which is kind of the last play that Michonne saw Rick, and they we get to see the other side of the ending of the first episode where they fire the little missiles. Now in the first one, it's really funny. There's a really cool detail of like they fire a missile, the one that goes into the helicopter and gets stuck to the commander that blew up. They think that was a dud, so they keep firing. But we know what happened. We know that actually just ended up exploding somebody inside the helicopter. I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, we get caught up to where the episode was. Unfortunately, this character Nate, that I think was pretty interesting. He had all the trappings of like this character's not gonna make it out alive out of this episode. So yeah, that was unfortunate. So there are a few tropes and a few things that The Walking Dead still kind of calls out, and it's pretty easy to see how that's gonna play out. So yeah, and now kind of we're caught up to where we left off in the first episode. Rick advises Michonne that she has to play along and play as a weak person, a meek person that will be embraced by the CRM and brought into their community, right? Because we know that they don't like independent, strong people. They want to have more submissive people in the city. We kind of learned that in the last episode. And man, Danagura is so good at like changing her demeanor, like because she plays like this super confident, strong women, right? And then having to change into like this more of a reserved, even scared person. Really well done. I thought that was a really cool scene of the interrogation. Like she takes on the identity of Dana and kind of pulls some details from the people that she had previously met. But now Rick and Michonne have to be very sneaky, and that's kind of what's building up the tension of this. So, and then the biggest reveal of the episode is that Jadis, who we met in the original series, that was they were the community living like in the junkyard, like closed off from everyone. And Rick and Jadis have a really weird relationship as well. I didn't get to see how that fully played out, but yeah, she's very good. But she knows the truth. She knows who Michonne is. So like for now, it looks like she's gonna keep that to herself. But that kind of means that she has Rick over a barrel. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out for the next few episodes. I think this is only supposed to be 6 episodes. So now that we've established everything, like we got to hit the ground running with the next 4. So we'll see. Hopefully, the next few episodes will be a little bit more evenly paced. But that was my big qualm about this one was just the pacing. I thought there were some sequences that really bogged down the story. They felt like filler, unfortunately, because we already knew what was going to happen later, and they didn't add much to what we already knew about Michonne. So maybe those scenes were there to establish Michonne for people that had never seen the show, which would make sense. But as somebody that had previously seen the show, somebody who's familiar with the comics and the character of Michonne, yeah, just really kind of slowed down the pace. So if you have seen this episode, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here on the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone.